Welcome to another episode of We Talkin' Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Germain, co-host with Jacob Hamill there. What's up, Jake?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's going on? We are broadcasting this live on YouTube as well as recording this also for the audio podcast, which you can get off Stitcher or that's the main place where it's hosted. But if you Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, anywhere, not Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all those great places and stuff. We're on all of that, man. So come check us out there. If you also haven't checked out the disjointedpod.com site, there's a bunch of stuff that we're going to be doing with that. We're going to be, I'm going to be, me personally, for the Disjointed podcast, I'm going to be adding some merch, preferably soon. And hopefully we'll be some t-shirts and everything with that sun face painting that you saw in there. That's basically going to be kind of like the logo and everything. So luckily that was done years and years ago from an artist friend of mine, Clay Elliott. Go check out his website, clayelliottpaintings.com. And there's a lot of great stuff there too and everything, just to see what it's amazing. Art can be a weird thing. One of the things I loved about working and doing paintings and stuff with Clay is that he was a way to do it. He wasn't like a pretentious freaking artist painter type where he lived in a completely different reality. And if just talking to you was taking time away from his own world, and he was pissed about that. He wasn't that type of dude at all. He's just a really just down to earth dude from Ohio, and cool guy. What's been going on with you, Jake, out there in Phoenix?
Well, you can tell I've been growing a beard because I'm just saying, fuck it. What's funny is I bought razors like the day I started growing this thing.
Right.
I bought my brand new razors and I planned on using them. And then like 3 or 4 days turned into 5 days, turned into 6 days, and all of a sudden it's a month.
Yeah.
And all this stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm like, this is the first time I've had like a legit beard going on.
Right.
And I've been getting weird compliments on it, like, oh, it's this beard. I'm like, I'm not even really trying, man. I don't give a fuck beard. Like, this is like no maintenance, by the way. I mean, I wash it, but I mean, I'm talking like, I haven't trimmed it once, which makes eating really hard.
Yeah.
But no, it's been interesting. And then at work, okay, so have you ever gotten a work nickname?
Yeah, kind of. There's one I gave myself just because I was being like an insufferable 20-year-old, but yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm talking like your fellow, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I don't know what it is with me, but like I'm a nickname guy. If I work in a place long enough, I'm gonna get a nickname.
Okay.
That's just what it is. I don't know why. I don't choose them. I do not choose them.
Right.
That's just, they happen organically. And so I was talking one day out back, and I said I look like the fucking guy from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the miner guy.
Yukon Jack, I think, right?
Yeah. It's actually Yukon Cornelius.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said, and now they call me Yukon or Cornelius or both. And these guys that I don't really work with them. I work in the same building as them.
All right.
They act like they fucking came up with it. That's the only part that makes me angry. I'm like, fuck you, I did that. You know?
Those fuckers. So, how dare they?
My ideas. I mean, granted, it's kind of like giving yourself your own nickname, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but whatever.
Neither am I, but that's not to say that I didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, there was this stupid thing. Okay, so like years and years of freaking ago, back in Tempe, Arizona, while I was working at Pizzeria Uno, gosh, it was a stupid thing where I was up at the host desk, and there was the host and who's just, these young 17, 18-year-old kids who just moved and gone to college for the first time. And the manager's up there, and they're like, we got to find a way to kind of really to push like the broccoli soup. I'm like, just call it sexy. He's like, what? Sex sells. Everything goes better with sexy. And they're like, all right, so like, here's a question. Ask me something about the menu. He's like, what about the Pizzeria Uno? You mean the sexy Pizzeria Uno? Or the sexy Uno pizza? It's fucking tastes bad. It's awesome. Yeah, it's going to be great and everything. And so somebody comes up, he's like, what's your soup of the day? I'm like, do you mean, to a customer, I'm like, you mean the sexy soup of the day? And they're like, you're just like escorting me away from the front. They're like, all right, stop it, Dave. And so I just kept calling everything. So at one point I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start calling myself Sexy Dave. And I would do, this is how annoying was it? Like I got in, this is, those old Nokia phones where you can buy new face covers for it. So I got this one. It was like electric blue, and it had like the silhouette of a dancer on it. So that became the sexy phone, right? because like, why is that phone any better? I'm like, because it's sexy. That's why. And it was just, I was just really, really. No, this is before I did stand up, by the way. And at one point, like when people call me up, and I'd be like, and I knew who it was, and I'd be like, sexy, instead of saying hello. And I'm like, this is Sexy Dave. How can I get sexy for you? You know, and so it was just like this running gag that my friends like Clay and Mo and Amy D and all this other stuff, Davo, we were all just kind of getting along, going along with it. And since I was one of the traders, I wrote in on one of the checklists that must address Dave as Sexy Dave at least once per shift. Like, and so my friend Joe, when he first started working there, was like, no, I'm not going to do it, man. I'm not calling, you seem like a nice dude, Dave, but I'm not calling you sexy. I'm just not calling another man sexy. I'm like, all right, no problem. So it was time for him to get checked out from, you know, the closer. And he was like, oh, who checked you out? And he's like, oh, Sexy Dave did. God damn it. So like it would get to the point like Clay and those guys, they had a band together and they're playing gigs, and I would show up at the bar. And like Joe, like between songs, he'd be like, hey, everybody, I just want you guys just to know right now that Sexy Dave is here. All right. Round of applause for Sexy Dave. And I just kind of like, you know what I mean? This fucking chubby dude with like long hair and fucking goatee and everything like that at the time. And it was just kind of like, but this is the weirdest thing is because I would see girls would be like, who's that? You know, who's this guy? Who's Sexy Dave? I want to find out who Sexy Dave is. So I was weird. Like, I'm like, I actually, like, there was not a lot, but there was a few girls, I would say about 2 or 3 that were interested in find out exactly who Sexy Dave was. And so, like, every now and then, like, if we went back to Tempe and stuff and I ran into Clay, he'd be like, hey, what's up, Sexy Dave? How's it going on? Even though I don't even look anything close like that. I'm not a model. I don't even look anything close to model. But that was kind of what was funny about it. I thought. And then, that went on for a good 2-3 years. And I'm like, Jesus, man. They're like, there would be people like, there's nothing sexy about you. I'm like, you clearly don't have a sense of humor. Go fuck yourself. But like, how's that for sexy? You know?
I think one of the ways you could have made it really mandatory is if you would have stuck on like where the workers' right board is.
You should have.
You know, like that big board that has like what the minimum wage is and your rights as a worker. You know, like that they have to have in every break room.
Yeah, exactly.
Also have to call Dave Germain Sexy Dave.
Like, we're not doing that. I'm like, oh no, you don't want to do it, but you're gonna do it. So like, it's
company rules. Just point at it at the board. It's right there.
Exactly, it's right there. I'm like, who wrote that?
Board, man, you gotta fucking do it.
I'm like, well, technically I did, I guess, but you know, hey.
Yeah, fuck it. No, I mean, just being in Arizona right now, it's slowly creeping up to getting hot.
Oh yeah.
Which is
right
like,
after spring training and stuff. That's where you're like, enjoy this 1 week where it's nice 80 something degrees or maybe 90 at the warmest, and like, oh, this is really great. Next week it gets above 100 and it fucking stays there until October. So have fun with that.
Yeah, no, I remember going to my brother's birthday party. He's like mid-September birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was like 97 at night.
Oh wow.
And my sister happened to be in town with us too, just by happen chance. She was also here.
Right.
She goes, it's really hot. She goes, it's really hot at night, huh? I'm like, this is the fucking coolest it's been in 5 months at night. Like I actually reveled in it being only 96 fucking degrees. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it felt like a nice cool breath of fresh air. The fact that it was that fucking cold or that, that temperature. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to that shit. And the fucked up thing is it's like because my job is so weird too. Like I'm in a fucking cooler all day long.
Yeah. Like, what do you got to complain about? What are you talking about?
Well, it's a shock, though. I mean, I get it. People have it worse. I'm not saying they don't.
Right.
But it is a shock to the system when you're in a 37 to 40 degree fucking cooled room all day long. And then you go out to your car and your body's like used to 40 degree temperature.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
And it's 115. Like your body's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, where did you go? Like, how did you go from 40 to 115 in the blink of an eye?
Yeah, where are you? What's going on? Like,
what fucking vortex did you walk through? What the fuck is this?
Right.
So, like, I'm driving home one day in like fucking full sweatshirt, fucking pants, and all that shit, and it's like 120.
Yeah.
I get the window down. I feel fine, and then halfway through my fucking drive, I realize I'm sweating my fucking ass off all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, that's right. I'm wearing like a fucking sweatshirt, a pullover sweatshirt, fucking long, heavy pants. and I'm driving with the sun in my face, and it's. I'm not looking forward to that part. That's gonna suck, but it is what it is.
Oh, dude, I had my car was parked usually on the top floor of the Sky Harbor parking garage in Terminal 4.
No.
So, like, if I was a day shift, it was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock when I left. And so the sun had just been beating on that thing. So it was like one of those things where, like, I would go out. This is when I was smoking. I would go out once I got off the elevator. I'd light up a cigarette, and then I'd open up my car door and just let all the heat get out. Because for some reason, you think it's all going to be the same. I'm like, no, for some reason, it's a good 15 or 20 degrees hotter in that car. So, like, I would turn the car on, turn the AC on and stuff like that, pointed at at your steering wheel. Because if you don't have a cover on that, there's a good chance that you are going to give yourself a good first to second degree burn. Like, same thing with the seat buckle and all this other weird shit. But yeah, there's just little things that you deal with. And I'm like, okay, by the time the cigarette was done, usually the car had kind of like cooled off a little. I mean, the AC had kind of kicked on at least a decent amount. And I don't know. It's kind of like the same thing when you get, like when it's snowing out here at Denver, like I would go out. I'm like, all right, I'd start up the car and turn on the defrost and then put on my gloves and take out my brush and then go and then just do that whole thing because I know unless I'm driving, that car is not going to heat up forever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it takes forever. But either way, you do that so that when you get in, I'm like, oh, this isn't as bad, Because it's always weird. Yeah. It's almost the same thing in Colorado where, like, it could be 10 degrees outside, but for some reason it's -4 inside of your car. I don't know why. It just always feels like that. I don't know.
I used to, in the winters, if I had like a half drinking Coke or something like a bottle, like that had a screw top on it or something.
Yeah.
Or like water or whatever, I would leave it in my car overnight. Because it was like fucking in the 20s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's going to stay cold in there.
At home. Yeah, exactly. Red Bulls are great. They have a lot of lifespan for shelf life after you open them for some reason.
Oh, yeah. I know, right? But still, I mean, because it's so cold in there, you keep that shit going. And it was funny. Like, I mean, I would wake up to go to work and there'd be a half drinking bottle of fucking vitamin water that I had last night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I've got nothing to drink. And I just look over and I open it and I'm like, take like one little test sip. And I'm like, oh, this is like fucking, I like pulled it out of the fridge.
Yeah.
Fucking back. And then I fucking drink it. And I'm like, okay, I'm good.
The weirdest one is that I remember getting in the car and there was like a half bottle of water that was in there. And sometimes like you get in your car and it's completely frozen. Right. So I'm like, well, shit. If you don't bring like a coffee or something in there with you, you're kind of screwed. And it wasn't frozen. So, no, there was a cap on it. So I was like, oh, I pick it up, take the cap off, and as I'm taking a drink out of it, I'd see it turn to ice. Like as soon as I moved it, I was like, I'm like, well, that's interesting. All right. Like if I had this happen like 200 years ago, I would have thought the gods just cursed me. You know what I mean? Like this is
the best. Like when you find one of those and it is frozen, but it's not solidly frozen, so there's some water in it, but it's a big brick of ice inside of it, and you go to take a sip. And like that ice chunk breaks loose as you're tilting it back.
Yeah.
And it's like getting punched in the face by like by a cylinder of ice, just right dead in the mouth. It's just like, boom. Like, yeah, that can be turned into a GIF what I just did. But
it'd be really funny is that I imagine for some reason there might be like some tribe somewhere like in a third world part of on the planet. And somebody's like showing them like, yeah, this is a video. Oh, it's this. These are just two guys talking and we're complaining about, when you get in your car and the heat doesn't kick on right away. And there's somebody who was like, yeah, we don't know. They're like in Siberia. And they're like, wow, that's really tough, bro. Like, shut up. Or you're talking about the heat and the AC isn't cooling off. And they're like in Africa somewhere. And they're like, shut up, bro. Like, what the fuck are you complaining about? You're like, you're right. Okay. Hey, is there a fucking tiger or a cheetah like ready to kill you before you get into the car? I'm like, no. Oh, wow. I don't know what that must be really tough not to be afraid of your life every time you step outside of your house. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So
it's like my uncle got eaten by a tiger yesterday, but this guy's seatbelt buckle story.
Yeah.
I don't want to be him.
That's so crazy. I mean, that's one of those things I think like if You always got to like remind ourselves, like anytime we're complaining about something about traffic or all this other stuff, I'm like, at least the one good thing about this traffic, like what? There isn't a lion waiting on the side of the road for you to fuck up and get out of your car so it can kill you and eat you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh yeah, that's true. I'm like, what's nice about that pool over there? I'm like, what? You can go near it and even swim in it, and a hippo isn't going to come out and fucking kill you in front of all the people that you know. Like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Right.
Some parts of this country, like, dude, you can't. You would be an idiot if you went into any lake or any body of water in the state of Florida that's not the ocean.
Oh yeah, no, big time. Florida, I think, is overrun by dinosaurs at this point, isn't it? Like the amount of boa constrictors and stuff that are there is like absolutely insane.
That was a whole fluke thing. They had a breeding facility like near the Everglades, and during Hurricane Andrew, it fucked the whole facility up, and those pythons got loose, and they've been breeding like crazy. And there's no enemies. They have zero enemies in that place, so they have the run of it, and they're literally wiping out fucking species of shit.
Yeah, they said like 85% of the mammals in Florida are gone. I guess they think
these fucking things kill alligators, man.
Yeah,
they kill alligators.
The only thing I think that's like a mammal that's kind of probably surviving, I think, is like big cats or something like that. I forgot what they're talking. I'm like that I can see. Like boa constrictor tries to kill a cat. The cat's like, that's a cool story, bro.
Yeah,
I'll just claw my way out of here. Like I don't give a fuck. Like,
but like as a cat too, you've got to like as a big cat, you've got to like at least keep an eye out for the fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
You can't just assume it's not going to come to you because it might. You never know. These things are weird like that. Those giant snakes, they'll try to eat people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they don't give any fucks.
I remember.
They don't eat shit that will make them split wide open when they try to digest it.
Yeah.
I'm saying like an overstuffed sausage. They'll just blow open.
Yeah, I know. Dude, I remember being a kid. One of the cool things that my dad always kind of did, or my parents did, growing up to a certain point, is that there was always a Sunday drive. You know, like this started way back in Saudi Arabia. Even though there wasn't a whole lot of places to drive to and stuff, like we would always go like look at some donkey that was by this track or whatever. And we're like, that was like a phrase that me and my sister would always be like, hey, well, like there's nothing to do. I'm like, oh, let's go see the donkey. You know what I mean? And so my parents thought it was cute and everything. But when we lived in Southern California, like at least once or twice a month, there was always a drive every Sunday, but occasionally we go to someplace special like Disneyland. And Disneyland used to have this thing because it was supposed to be like they wanted to be making sure that it was affordable for all families, but it's still Disney and they still want to make money. So like it was cheaper to get into the park, but to ride the rides, you would have to buy a booklet of tickets. So like the little rides like the teacups and stuff like that, that would be like, let's say a B or a C ticket or something like that. Or to go see like the Hall of the Presidents, that's like an A ticket. That's really cheapy. But if you wanted to go on Space Mountain, well, that's an E ticket. So you can buy these booklets and everything, and there might only be like 2 E tickets on there if you got like the affordable, the family thing. So not everybody can necessarily go on there. So you couldn't ride all the rides. You know, now it's different. They're like, all right, we'll just charge you $75 and you can ride everything. And I'm like, I can't ride everything in one day. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, that sucks, bro. Anyways, you know, so in near Anaheim, reasonably close, if I remember correctly, and I could be off, but there was like the B version of Disneyland called Knott's Berry Farm.
Yep.
Okay. And if you couldn't afford Knott's Berry Farm, across the street, I don't think it is this way anymore, but there was from the main entrance and the parking and stuff, it looked like a city park, but it was like an extension of Knott's Berry Farm. And that was like, if you didn't even have money to go into Knott's Berry Farm, there was like it was like a big park that you can at least go and have picnics and stuff like that. So like family stuff was really, really important. I thought that was really cool. But up and down that road, that's also where Madame Tussauds Movieland Wax Museum was there. Across the street from that, I think was like Medieval Times. And there was all these other little, like, there was like a reptile house that was on that road. And so one time he's like, all right, we'll go check this out. This is what we'll do. We'll take a tour of that. And there was weird times. Like I remember we took a tour of this one place and both me and my dad, we were like on this bridge, like of this little pond. And we just put our hands on the thing, and immediately we were both covered with ants. And it was just freaky. We're like, whoa, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, that's a little traumatic. Not as traumatic as going into the reptile house, because at first it's cool. because you could see like,
Yeah.
oh, like in the cages and everything, it's like the zoo. I'm like, oh, that's great. And then towards the end, they go like, okay. And I remember they show there was this room with a boa constrictor that easily. I mean, keep in mind, I was like 6 or 7 years old, but it looked like a monster. Like it was bigger than any of us. Like this huge, huge, massive snake. And when you're looking at this from as a kid point of view, and you're like, that's a dragon. That is a monster. That's the boogeyman. That is the thing that's going to be hiding in my closet. That's going to be killing me. That's the big monster at the end of Conan, the Barbarian, the Destroyer. It doesn't matter. It's coming for you. And they're like, wow, that was really scary. I'm like, okay, I'm with my dad, but this thing's bigger than my dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the last thing we see was like, all right, it had been an alligator because there's no way they would have a crocodile there, but an alligator that was even way fucking bigger than that python was.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the size of a car or something like that. And I was just like, I didn't realize there was shit like this in the world. And now I'm scared and I don't want to do anything. So, like, screw this. You know what I mean?
No, I saw alligators in Florida when I took Alligator Alley.
Yeah.
It's a part of, I can't remember what the highway number is, but it's the stretch from Miami to Naples.
Okay.
It cuts directly across the it's like the tip of the dick, like that. The tip of the dick of Florida.
Right.
So it's a fucking 100-mile drive of nothingness. It really is. It's all Everglades.
Wow.
But there's an exit in the middle, exit 50, where they have a gas station, and it's also where the fucking Seminole Casino is. That's the Seminole Hard Rock. But you're driving down it for a while, and like they have fences up on the side of the road, and it's two-lane highways. That's all it is. Two-lane highways. That's it.
Right.
And gators will get through. And I saw one on the side of the road, and this thing was fucking enormous.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like. I mean, it's like I had the same reaction that when I saw two orangutans. No, it was two gorillas or silverbacks. It was two silverback gorillas fighting at the fucking at Animal Kingdom.
Wow.
Yeah, and dude, their fucking their biceps are the size of my fucking torso.
Yeah.
It fucking, I was blown away. I mean, I always knew they were big.
Yeah.
But to see them in action is fucking bananas. Like I've never seen anything like it in my life.
And strangely enough, vegetarians.
Really?
Yeah. Gorillas, I believe, are vegetarians. Which strangely enough, with all that muscle mass and stuff, I'm like, that's some fucking serious genetics and shit, man. Jesus.
Yeah. They're fucking rich. I mean, and they were just fist fighting, and there's people on the fake fucking like Jeep thing that they got on a track. That are like yelling and shit, like, "Oh my god, this is crazy!" We're like, "Dude, what the fuck do you want them to do?"
It's nature, man. Yeah,
yeah.
Nature's not nice. Like, nature doesn't give a shit about our feelings. I wish it would. You know, try to complain.
It was just a simple fist fight. He wasn't like ripping his head off.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, "Whoa, dude! Exactly. Get me the fuck out of here!"
I remember, I forgot who I was with, but I was at the Phoenix Zoo. That one that's like, it's weird. Like between Scottsdale, Tempe, and Phoenix, there's like this open area where it's just desert for like from McDowell all the way to close to Priest. That you go through it, it's just like desert, and then there's a little turnoff where you can go. And that's where the Phoenix Zoo, and they have the Phoenix lights and stuff. But I remember I was around there. The lion wasn't really out that day. He was just kind of sleeping inside of whatever its cave or whatever it was. So I was interested in seeing the lion. And so either way, I'm easily nowhere near the lion cage, and I hear that thing roar. I just hear this brrr, and I immediately like freaking jumped. You know what I mean? And I'm like, wow, that is such a weird reaction. I don't know if that's just like a genetic reaction where like when you hear that, you go like fucking run. Anytime like it's just your body is like, if you hear that sound, that is not a safe place to be in because that means there's a lion. And you're not making it out of this. You're going to get fucked up. And I'm like, all right, well, fair enough. But yeah, that's just, it's a bizarre reaction when you see like when your body reacts on a primal level when, we're not really used to that. Maybe that's why people like scary movies so much, is because they want to feel that primal thing. There's a weird connectedness to it. You know? Like, do you remember that trip we took to Grand Junction?
Yeah.
that show we did out there, as we were driving, it was a weird thing, not only having to watch the road and stuff, but there was those goats that were on the side of the road and everything, and up on these sheer cliffs, and they're just hopping up there. And I'm like, that is such a weird thing. It's like when you see it, your brain is like, oh, this is just how it is. But at the same time, you're like, oh, that's a different world. I forgot that I live in a completely different world than this other one that also exists. You know, I'm in cars, there's gasoline, there's roads, there's truck stops, Dunkin' Donuts and stuff. And these goats are like, oh no, there's life and death. There's really nothing to do today except try to cheat death all day and hope we don't run into something, you know. I'm not worried because I know that I'm faster than Ted. Ted's the slowest goat out. Ted's a fucking idiot, man. These guys got to get killed. It's going to be hilarious when he goes. We've all been waiting for it, but yeah, like, that's the life of a mountain goat, I guess.
Dude, they sound like the deer deer in the Northeast.
Yeah, right.
Whenever you're when you're in a rural part of like New England or New York or any of that part of Pennsylvania too, dude, yeah, that's a legit worry. Right. That you'd be driving the fucking highway, boom, there's a fucking deer.
Yep.
Just right in front of you. Just looking at you like a fucking idiot. Like, do I go? What? What's going on? It's fucking, dude, it's infuriating. Yeah. I hit one. Was the weirdest night of my life.
I've been lucky that I haven't hit one yet, but I don't know. I got to be more careful because I live out in Broomfield now.
Yeah.
The new place.
You gotta be careful, yeah.
It is really, really weird because, like, I've just kind of been driving around, just trying to get to know the neighborhood and where everything is, because I'm like right in that center where it's Wheat Ridge, Arvada, Westminster, Broomfield, Boulder, and then all the other like Louisville, Lafayette, Erie, and everything like that. So it's weird if I go south of the 36, which kind of runs in a diagonal line up to Boulder from Denver to Boulder. I'm in the city. I'm in the suburbs. You know, I go a little bit farther. I'm in downtown Denver and stuff. I'm like, oh, it's civilization. If I go just a little bit north of the 36, I am in rural America, small town America.
Yep.
Which is really, really interesting to me because that's where I grew up in a small town. So it's this weird, like I'm in this limbo between like these two worlds and stuff. Like I couldn't wait to leave that small town life behind as soon as I graduated high school and I was off on my own. I'm like, I don't want to live in a small town. But as I'm driving around, I'm like, oh, I forgot there was like a kind of a peaceful, relaxing quietness to living in a rural area and stuff that I haven't had in a long time. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. You know, there's not people driving by like, you know, like with race cars and shit and freaking blasting their stereo and all that other stuff. We live in an apartment. I mean, there are young people that live here, but it's not like a college, like an extension of a college dorm, which I was kind of
young.
Yeah, young people work in medical and tech and stuff. And, I used to think, I don't know what it is where we've lost. I think this is something that has to do with the internet possibly, or just adjusting or growing into it. But communication between strangers is starting to become a lost art or a lost skill that I've noticed. Because there's times like when I'm getting off, I'm walking the dog. So I get off the elevator with the dog and I'm keeping him like short so that way, because little Freya is really excited and she wants to jump on people and be like, hey, what's going on? How's everything? And she's just super happy. I'm like, yeah, not everybody wants you to jump on them. Not everybody wants you to say hi to them. Just stay close to me. Yeah. But I always be like, try to make eye contact. I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. And some folks would be like, hello, nice to meet you as well. I'm like, yeah, And but there's some young folks as I'm passing by, I'm like, morning. They just keep their head down and walk right past. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not trying to put my finger in your butt, okay? I'm not trying to get your money. I'm not trying to get your social security number. I'm not trying to date you. I'm not even trying to be a friend. I'm just trying to say, hey, like from one creature that lives on this planet to the other, I acknowledge your existence. I have no intention on harming you whatsoever. I am just saying hello.
So because I'm dealing with that right now as we speak, right?
Okay.
Because of my apartment. Yeah. Because like, dude, my apartment building has 4 units, and at one point it was just me and my roommate in our apartment, and that was it. Okay. Right? That was just recently. They filled them recently, but like just recently, all 3 of them got filled, but like all at the same time. So I don't know anybody here.
Okay.
The people across from me, right? It's a single mom. I think her boyfriend lives there, but I can't remember. I see a dude there occasionally. I don't know. But I'm outside smoking at all hours of the day. Mm-hmm. It could be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It could be 9 o'clock at night. At some point, you'll see me outside.
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just by happen chance I'll be out there smoking, and it's like it's dark. It's
Mm,
our parking lot is not well lit.
right.
My door light's on though.
Mm,
My porch light's on, but I'm ripping a butt, and they're not paying attention, and I'll see them,
mm.
and then we'll make eye contact, and they're like, "Oh fuck, who the fuck are you?" and that's when I'm like, "Oh hey, I just live here. I just hey, how you doing?" And then like, oh, okay, and then like the first couple times you see them, it's a little awkward because they always like, "What the fuck?"
Mm-hmm.
As you how I've been handling it, I'm not trying to get to know them. I just want to be nice.
Yeah.
Uh, what I basically do is I just go, I just wave to him like, "Hey, Don," like, lovely morning. That's
Mm.
simple shit. And eventually they kind of just
It takes a
they're cool
while.
with. Yeah, it takes time because like it's happened a couple of times with this neighbor across the way from me. Actually, diagonally for
Mm-hmm.
me, like the across and up. It's like some older dude, and I think his daughter or his wife. I honestly don't know. It's one of those situations.
Yeah.
Uh, but I see him all the time, and I make sure that I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" The younger woman in this situation, she's nice, that stuff. So we're fine. And the upstairs neighbor at first I thought wasn't cool with us, and then he's just a quiet dude. I
Yeah.
finally met him, and he's all right. He actually asked if he was making too much noise,
Mm.
and I was like, "Nah, man, you're fucking good. Don't worry about it. I haven't heard shit." Our next door neighbors blared fucking mariachi music from like fucking 5 to 10 o'clock at night every weekend,
Yeah.
which I don't mind. I kind of like it, weirdly enough. I've
Right.
grown to like it.
I have a love-hate relationship. Like I respect it as part of like part of my upbringing and heritage and stuff like that. But the
Yeah.
thing is it, and I don't know how many other Latinos out there would agree with it, on me on this. But if you hear mariachi music the first thing you when you wake up in the morning, that means you're about to get an ass whooping unless you get your ass up and start cleaning right away.
Oh no. Okay.
Because that's
I didn't.
usually like when my mom is like, all right, to start like Sunday, if you're not like when we think of church, like this is house cleaning music, all right, and they always turn on the stereo loud so that way the whole house could hear it and stuff, and I'm like, I never understood that. Like the moment I got earbuds was like one of the happiest days in my life. I'm like, great, so I can listen to things as loud as I want, and I don't have to upset anybody else with me unless I'm on a city bus or something and only sitting next to an old lady while I'm blaring Metallica. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
then I'll turn it down a little bit because I'm trying to be, thoughtful. But that's just something that young people do. Like I remember being young, and the first time that I got hold of Rage Against the Machine, and my friends and I were happened to be one of the few guys that got that earlier than a lot of other people did. So by the time everybody started getting into it, I'd already been listening for a couple of months. So I felt like, oh, this is really cool. But I would be blaring that, being like, yeah, fuck Whitey. and
Yeah.
but I'm like, I'm at a stoplight. Why do I have to have my volume all the way up with the windows down? Like, do I need other people to acknowledge that they like that I'm listening to something good? You know, like
Yeah.
it's a weird thing uh, young more and less that young people tend to do. Like I've been everywhere where it's like, I mean, it's not just any one type of like any type of person or socio thing. It doesn't matter if it's a rich kid, a poor kid, if they're in a car and they're 16 years old, whatever they're listening to, they feel that everybody else needs to be listening to it too. You know.
Yeah. 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 I get that a lot here.
Oh,
And
Phoenix, yeah, there's a lot of young people out there.
well, that it's just I'm also in the hood, so like you fucking see that a lot. Like you'll see just like an old Chevy Blazer that's literally rattling itself.
Yeah,
Just like you can't even understand what the fucking song is. It's
right.
just fucking bass. That's all it is. And it's just different fucking like rhythms of the bass.
Yeah,
It's like and like the little the car is so loud that it's blurry. Like it's like a picture of Bigfoot. It's blurry because of the vibration of the fucking car.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I've seen it before. It's fucking like, dude, we get it.
With
You
somebody's
have a lot of
bases
bass.
shaking your fucking side view mirrors and stuff, and you're like, what the fuck? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Dude, your tires are really gonna fall off if you keep on doing it. It'll just vibrate up, just fucking come undone. You know.
I remember when I was a
Ugh.
cabbie, I was picking this kid up. It was from just off a mill, and as I'm taking him to his destination. There was another car behind us at a stoplight, and it's blaring like dubstep. And this is like
That
5 in the morning or something. And the sun's coming up and everything, and I'm like not thinking anything of it. But this young kid, like this college kid, and I keep in mind, I'm in like my late 30s at this point, and this college kid gets really upset. He's like, who the fuck listens to dubstep at 5 in the fucking morning, man? There's no reason for this. Like, no fucking reason. And I'm like, and that's when that young man turned into an old man. Like, at that moment, he'd be like, I remember the exact date. It was March 7th, 2006. I was in the back of a cab and I realized, what the fuck? And then suddenly I just shut off my radio, threw my iPod out the window, and I'm like, that's it, I'm done. No more music for me.
Moments in old man history.
Exactly. So I have to say, I just recently put out a new episode of the Disjointed Podcast with Jeff Cohen. I wanted to talk to Jeff because Jeff was at that Pueblo show doing a guest spot. That was the one that I was the feature at. That was the one that I'm like, dude, I can't wait for this. I can't wait to go to in front of a small crowd again. I want to, do my best. I want to blow everybody out of the water. I want to make sure the headliner's sweating after my set goes up. I had a horrible fucking set.
Oh, no.
It was fucking horrible. I got some laughs in the middle of that 20 minutes, but in the beginning there was nothing. And at the end, there was nothing. It was like just a group of like 120, like I don't know how many people. I think it was close to 100, just staring at me like.
Yeah, man, Pueblo's a hard town.
It is.
I've been there. It's a hard town.
But I mean, that inspired me, not in a really fun way, but it was kind of like, I know, like when I was talking to Jeff, I'm like, I know that I'm funnier than this. I know that I'm better than this. Like, I felt bad that I was that I kind of came up short because I was checking my time while I was on stage. It was like 18 minutes or so, and I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to be getting off out here. Jeff is like, yeah, he let you early because you weren't really doing that well.
Oh, well.
Which I didn't even.
At least you did the time.
Yeah.
It shows professionalism. That shows professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
If you went way over your time or way under your time, you look like an asshole.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, I mean, granted, he didn't let you early, but I'm telling you, dude, that's actually that is a silver lining.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh,
if you could do your fucking time, that is huge.
Mm-hmm. And there is just things that, as Jeff was talking about it, and he was, he's throwing in his 2 cents, and he's trying to be really nice. He's like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm like, no, I value your opinion, man. You've been doing this as long as I have, Oh, yeah, he sees a lot of stuff. Yeah.
He's so.
And he was like, I don't think you haven't been putting in enough reps. I know you've done a mic every now and then and stuff, but you could see that you were just fucking rusty up there. Like it shook you when you didn't get a laugh at the part. I'm like, yeah, it did. I mean, I worked my way through it. And like I said, I did get some funny points out there, but it's kind of like I didn't earn the audience's trust from the beginning, and after that, they just kind of tuned out. So when I start talking about more personal stuff in my life, they're just not on board. Nothing is on board, It was an older group. I'm like, I think maybe I'll do the Star Wars bit. The Star Wars bit fucking just did a fucking horrible death. So I was like, okay, Jesus, man. And I'm like, okay. Afterwards, like I wrote a message to the producer, Donna Shannon, and I was like, hey, I just want to say that I'm going to be reworking a lot of my old material, try to get some more reps in and stuff. If you have any spot, in a couple of months, I'm going to hit you up again. If you have any spots, even if it's a guest spot, I'd be more than happy to do it. I know I could do a better job than what I did while I was there, and I want an opportunity to kind of redeem myself. And I'm like, I need to be doing at least 100 sets, even 100 mics before I even go back there, and
that it is doing enough to where like you feel like you're doing something. Mm-hmm. I mean, the thing is like, I love Jeff and all that stuff, but like, you kind of have the same schedule because like Jeff he works by himself, right? Like he's like an artist.
Yeah, he makes a living off of making paintings.
But you're kind of like, what I'm saying? I mean, Jenny works, but like you're kind of doing your thing with the whole disability, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, that might be that's probably good advice. I was, as far as Jeff was saying, you're probably in a great position to where you could do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like try and just don't. The thing is, it's the pressure thing because I've done it before too.
Yeah,
we're like start of the year, I'll be like, I'm gonna hit I'm gonna average a mic a day.
Yeah,
because there's a guy in Boston years ago named Matt Conan, right? And he started running same time I started. I saw him 6 months afterwards. He was fucking on fire, man.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, how is this motherfucker so good? I started at the same time he did.
Yeah.
And I did a show with him. And I asked him, I was like, yo, man, like, what's the deal? Like, you've been fucking killing it lately. and he's getting on everything.
Yeah.
And he was funny. And he was funny. It wasn't like he had friends and shit that were getting him on shows.
Mm-hmm.
He was legit funny, but that fast. And he goes, "Do it. I literally do a mic. I average a mic a day. I've done 365 days, or sorry, 365 shows in the past like 10 months."
That's important.
And I'm like, holy, yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
But that got him better. And it also gets you kind of hardened to the whole if you bomb. You
Yeah.
might have, I mean, it sucked to bomb.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to bomb, but you probably needed that bomb.
Yeah,
honestly.
yeah. I did. I absolutely did, because
Sometimes
there was a couple times I fucking
needed.
crushed it really, really hard at some mics and stuff with like, not just with comics, but with like a lot of people there. And I'm like, you know what? I have been doing this for over 10 years. You know what? I am pretty fucking awesome. Yeah. You know what? I am different from all the other comics in Denver. Yeah, I could do this. Then you just go up there. Like I told Jeff, I'm like, I should have went up there and just farted into the mic for 20 minutes, because that's pretty much exactly how the audience took it. And like, and it wasn't their fault. I'm not putting it on them. I'm like, it's not, it's my job to entertain them. It's not their job to laugh at everything that I say, you know? And, but man, that one was really, really fucking rough. So I'm like, okay. So I've, I don't know if you saw, like I did this thing, I kind of gave myself a challenge last month where I had to do one of 3 activities every day. It was either go to the gym and do something, whether it's a treadmill or whatever, just because with my neck injury, guys, it's not like I can go out there and start running and lifting weights and everything. I can't. If I do that, there's a good chance I could fuck myself up even more. So I got to do, but at the same time, I've got to exercise, because otherwise, you know, like I'm still under 300 pounds right now and I want to stay that way and get even healthier. But the thing is, it's like, man, I don't want to get that heavy again. And so it was either that, go to the gym, or I need to write, or it doesn't matter about what, I just need to write, sit, you know. And so I would go, like, I'd get a coffee at the Starbucks and I'd be a pretentious jerk, and pull out my iPad, my wireless keyboard, put in my earbuds so I don't have to listen to anybody, even though I chose to go to a public place, which makes no sense, right? And then I would just write, and I would do that for, it ended up being like a half hour, 40 minutes of just nonstop. I'm like, oh, this is really good. And then the third activity was either breathing exercises / meditation. So the whole thing was like, these are one like an emotional, spiritual base, one on an intellectual base, one on a physical base. But it was something I had to spend time with me. I had to get engaged with time with me, as opposed to just doing something that just took up time. So like playing a video game, like if I uninstalled Civilization 5 off of my computer, because I'm like, if I start playing that game at 9 o'clock in the morning, that game will last probably until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the towards the evening.
Yep.
And I'm like,
I got games.
Yeah. So I was like, I can't do this. Like if I need to, I just, this isn't getting me anywhere. It's not getting me where I want to go. So I did that. I missed 4 days out of that whole month, but still, and the only rule that I gave myself was that I couldn't repeat any of those things more than 2 days in a row. So let's say if I really liked the meditation, it was working well, but I didn't really want to work out. And I'm like, okay, well, you could do meditation tomorrow if you want. I'm like, okay, cool. On that third day, it's like, I don't really want to write and I don't want to work out. I'm like, too fucking bad. Pick one of them. You need to go do it. If you want to meditate again tomorrow, you can, but you have to do something different today. And so I was just kind of putting myself where I'm like, I'm always having to move in a different direction. And I got a lot out of it. So I'm like, I think I'm going to need to keep that up as a daily thing, you know?
The good advice that I got years ago about that, because I've been starting to do some simple stuff. Like I've been doing push-ups and shit, you know, kind of getting, because of my job, I didn't realize how good I am at that now.
Yeah.
Like fucking like 30, 40 of them at a whack, just bang, 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 you know, no problem.
At my best, I was like tapping out around 20 when I was younger.
Oh no, I mean, it's because of my job.
Yeah.
I lift up heavy boxes that are like 30, 40 pounds all day long.
Right.
Oh yeah. But no, it's basically what my buddy told me was that just because you don't want to do something but you did it anyway.
Yeah.
Does not mean it does not count.
Yeah.
I don't double negative, but you know what I mean? Like just because you don't want to do it, but you did it.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it like a bad thing. It just, sometimes you just don't want to do something, but you got to force yourself to do it.
Well, that was one of the things I was listening to. Was this guy Matt Vicchioni, who's like a comic out of New York and stuff. He was on JRE, and they were talking about like motivation, and working out and all this other stuff. And it's kind of like they were talking about David Goggins, and he was like, sometimes I'll stare at those fucking running shoes for a half hour, and I want to put those fuckers on, but I'm trying to conquer my inner demons. And I'm like, I'm going to put those on. I'm going to start running and everything. And he was like, it's important to know that feeling of not wanting to do something is never going to go away.
Yeah.
It's about having to overcome that. And I was like, oh, okay. Because for some reason, I always look at people who are really, really in shape and that it just comes natural to them, that they just always want to work out. I'm like, no, man. Sometimes I'm sure that they're like, I don't want to do this, but I have to do this. That type of thing where I'm like, I'm not going to just sit at home and eat, chips and salsa and stuff. I have to get up. I have to go out. I have to start moving. And so that's becoming more and more important to me. It's kind of like once you get your health taken away from you, with whether it was like the stuff that you had or the stuff that I had, and it's like, then you realize like how important is it? Like what if I never get that feeling of like as a kid when you're running, you're having so much time, but your lungs are on fire because you're running so much, but you're having fun. And that feeling of like when you stop and your heart rate's going and stuff like that, like whether you're playing tag or whatever game you're playing with some other kids in the neighborhood, like you're 7, 8 years old and stuff like that. I'm like, what if I never feel that again? That feeling of joy of just being able to move and jump and climb and doing all this other stuff. And it gets really, really scary. So it makes me feel bad that I made fun of all those people that were working out all the time growing up. Like I probably should have been friends with those guys. I might have picked up some good habits and stuff,
I mean, I played sports and shit. I'm surprised I didn't fucking catch on any of those habits. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just was, one of those things where I was just like, fuck, man. Like, I don't know. I just got fat. I mean, and what's funny is I'm not as fat as I thought I was.
Yeah.
It's not, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, even when so when I move furniture and shit for a living, you think I'd be ripped and shit. You move it. And I was in good shape, but I always have like this weird, like, layer of fat always fucking around me.
It's because you grew up in a cold environment. Your body's like, yo, man, we need some insulation in here, man. You can't be walking around here all skinny and shit.
Yeah, like it's fucking because like I'll flex and like I'm finally getting definition in my biceps and stuff. Finally,
yeah,
like that shit takes forever though.
Yeah,
I'm not one of those guys who can fucking do this shit and like have like a fucking whoop, like a defined like holy shit.
Yeah,
I've never been that dude, but it's not that I'm a pussy. I mean, I've done manual labor jobs with heavy ass shit for a long time in my life. So it's just I don't have the body. My body is not my body is a working body, not a show off body.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna put that on the floor and try and sell it to people. This is the one you have in the back. You think you can give to someone?
Exactly.
It's fine. It's just not it's not good. I mean, it's not like a attractive one, but it's like an ugly Honda Civic of a body. Like it works great, but it ain't one that you want to brag about.
Like it's gonna get you to the party, but you ain't taking anybody home. That kind of thing.
Like I mean, your character, but that's about it. Yeah, I mean, that's the only prayer you got.
Like you're gonna need a personality if you're driving this car. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Speaking of that. So, well, not really speaking of that. I am going to pop my California cherry the next month.
Oh yeah, you're going to Cali, huh? Oh, you're going to San Diego, you said, right?
What's that?
You're going to San Diego?
Yeah, San Diego.
Nice.
Which I'm oddly nervous about.
It's pretty beautiful out there, man. It really, really is. Like, if you get a chance, make sure, because I don't know how long you're going for, but definitely try to take a moment, especially as the sunset, and be like, I just got to see the water setting the sunset over the Pacific.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, probably when you do that, it's going to be windy as shit. And, it's going to blow the fucking straw, the little umbrella right out of your drink. And you're like, that's a fucking great idea. Thanks, Dave. Yeah. But
I'm going to a baseball game, but I think by that point I'll be at the stadium watching the game when that happens.
Oh, yeah.
So I might actually go an extra day. I might leave Friday at like morning in Phoenix. That way I could be there Friday. I'd stay there 2 days. Like,
yeah.
Hang out, see the city on Friday, and then Saturday go to the game, then drive back Sunday. So, because I'm driving.
From what I understand, that's like San Diego is like LA's version of Colorado Springs.
Oh,
it's a military town, so they're very kind of strict about that. Like they said, like if there's folks who are like, oh, they'll be sitting out over the bay just having like breakfast and everything, and you could see like the INS agents like with their fucking or like, you know, with their goggles and stuff like that, going through the water and like through the little marsh area of it, because
Yeah.
they're looking for immigrants crossing over illegally. And I'm like, whoa, man, that's fucking crazy, you know?
Yeah. It's because it's right on the border, right? San
Yeah.
Diego's right on the border.
Yeah. Right next to TJ or Tijuana, which, by the
Eesh.
way, you do not want to find yourself drunk anywhere off of without your friends in Tijuana. Like, there's a lot of fucking scams over there. Like, somebody will, like, they'll sell you like a bottle of tequila. Like, yeah, here you go, man. It's fine. And the moment you walk out of there and you have it in your hand, like without, like in a bag or trying to drink from it, because they're like, yeah, no, it's fine. No, there is a cop that is waiting for you, and he is going to freaking shake you down because they're both working to try to shake down as many tourists as possible. And I'm like, man, that is
Oh,
fucking crazy. So,
yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not planning on going there.
yeah.
I'm just staying in the whale's vagina, or where the fuck they said in Anchorman. Uh, but no, I mean, I'm seeing a friend of mine that I haven't seen physically seen, and shit, it's been about 11 years.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, 11, 12. I mean, I've kept in contact with her,
Right,
but like I haven't seen her in 11 years. So like, and we both kind of like been through the gamut of life,
right.
you know. So it's gonna be real fucking interesting when we get to fucking sit down and hang out for a bit. I mean, it's
Yeah.
have you ever like reconnected with somebody that you haven't seen in like a long time?
There was, but it was a weird situation. Um,
Oh, really?
well, I mean, no, it was a good situation. There was this girl that I obsessed over for almost 20 years. And I didn't know
Huh.
why. There was just something special about her and stuff. And uh, like, it was around like the time, like on Facebook, when she got on Facebook and stuff, and I was able to kind of contact her. This is a girl that I would hyperventilate sometimes when I saw her, because I would just be
Yeah.
like so fucking weirded out. Like, my body would freeze up, it'd start shaking. It was like, it was really, really fucking weird. Like, as a teenager, anyways. And so,
Yeah.
like,
You're just overloaded with fucking nerves.
yeah. And one of the best lessons that I learned, I remember, because she was a year ahead of me in high school, and we were in the same drama classes when I was a sophomore, and no, 2 years ahead of me. Sorry. And she was a sophomore, and I'm like, I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna say hi. And keep in mind, a lot of traumatic stuff had happened to me in the period, in the a few years before that, because that's when my dad passed away and all the stuff. It was just like a year prior, and um, I remember the day where I'm like, I wasted every single day, and I chickened out every single day that whole year that I won, because I noticed her when I was a freshman, and the last day, I'm like, this is the day I'm going to do it. It's do or die and everything. You got to freaking talk to her. You got to, whatever. And I remember I'm getting all set and ready, what I'm going to say. I've been thinking about it for weeks. And I see her, she's coming towards me. And then she's on the side of me. And then she's behind me. And then she is out the
Oh,
door. And I fucking
yeah.
froze. And I was like, I was so pissed off at myself. So when it came to things like moving to New York and taking a really, really big risk, something like that, they're like, why would you do that? And in the back of my mind is like, because I never want to feel how I feel that day in that drama room ever, ever again. Like, I would rather
Yeah.
make a horrible, horrible mistake and have to live with the consequences than ever wonder what happened. So she was always in my mind and stuff, and she was very cautious about talking to anybody. She's not like the big super social person. And we were chatting here and there. At one point, she gave me a phone call, and in my mind, I had this fantasy relationship that I would always go to anytime things were going rough for years. I didn't even realize I had it. I would just start thinking about, what if I was with a girl like with this. Now, everything that I fantasize about, I actually have now in my marriage with the gal that I've been with forever now, Jenny. So I've gotten
Yeah.
everything that I wanted and stuff. And so I took a trip to LA and stuff and met some friends. And one of the things that I did is that I managed to kind of go have dinner with this girl. And so we went, when it was like to an IHOP and stuff, and we were talking, kind of getting to know each other. And I've been on enough dates that I could tell when a girl's into me and when she's not. Okay. And it's not like she hated me or anything like that, but I'm like, she's not into me or a guy like me. And
Yeah.
it was like this big weight that was lifted off my shoulder, and I was like, I could finally let this go. wow. And it was like I was free. It was like a prison that I had built myself. Like at first, it was like a way to get away from the heart. This fantasy world or relationship was a way to get away from any harsh realities or breakups or anything that I was dealing with at that time. And I didn't realize it. I'm like, no, that's a part of you now. You have this freaking area in your brain that you cannot get away from. And so I was finally able to do that. I was like, man, I was really, really excited. And we're still friends, you know, on Facebook and stuff. She sends me sends us Christmas cards, you know, for Jenny and I. And she's a really, really amazing person. And one of the things that I realized that as we were talking, she had also, there was somebody that had committed suicide in her life, like within a year of my father dying. So it's kind of like in Harry Potter, I forgot the name of these beasts, but like when you would see like the carriages being pulled by like these invisible horses and stuff. Harry could see what it was, and it looked like these demonic horses that look evil, but they're not. And Luna Lovegood, who everybody thinks is nuts and stuff, and she's like the one Americanized person there. And she was like, "Oh, you could see him too." And he's like, "What are they?" And she's like, "Yeah, only people who have actually seen death are the ones who could see them. Like if you know what death looks like, then they're visible to you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And that was kind of one of those things. I'm like, that was probably. I mean, aside from her being a really smart, intelligent, great, beautiful person, she also had something, a knowledge that everybody else or most of the other people around me did not have yet. And that was experience what death looks like and feeling that grief and stuff. And I think that was one of the things that initially pulled me toward her. Because it's like, you see somebody, it's like, I don't know where it is, but I think you have a scar somewhere that looks a lot like mine. Yeah. So why don't we go walk together for a little bit, you know? And sometimes that could be a good thing. Sometimes it's not. But I was like, oh, that's one of the reasons I was so drawn to her. Okay, that makes a lot of sense and stuff. So luckily that didn't end with any weirdness or nothing. But it's it was. But that was my story of like, okay, no, I finally had dinner with somebody, but it was like, I don't know. I was lucky that I went there with no expectation whatsoever. You know, if I expected, like, was hoping, like, oh man, I wonder if she really falls for me. What if we can make this happen? What's going on? But like, nah, it wasn't it. So I'm like, all right, I'm fine with that. But this is somebody, like, was this somebody who was just a friend of yours, or was this like a romantic person, or no? Or
sorry, my fucking phone, my things are stupid.
Oh, fair enough.
I fucking hold on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I could hear you just fine.
I'm trying something different. Give me a second.
Sure.
Sorry. Technical difficulties.
Did your earbuds run out of juice?
I think so.
Yeah. That'll happen.
Which is weird because I fucking charged them yesterday.
Right.
Or I left them in my thing overnight. So hold on. I gotta fucking hold on.
Doing all right?
No. Here we go.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I can still hear you. It sounds about the same. You're doing all right.
God damn it.
That's probably because they didn't do anything.
The wrong one. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
God damn it. Sorry.
By the way, this is the clip that I will be putting up for this episode. Like, well, you want to know what our show's about? Here it is. It's watching Jake flip out over his earbuds.
I feel like whenever this shit happens, I feel like the oldest of old men. Right. You know what I mean?
These kids today don't understand. Yeah. No, I get it, man.
Let me answer your question, because now I don't want people thinking I'm avoiding it.
Yeah.
So I met her. She was a person we hired at the moving company I was working with.
Okay.
At the time. And it was right at the beginning of the roller coaster ride that was the last year of my marriage.
Gotcha.
What happened was that my marriage was coming undone. I think what it was is my wife just lost respect for me, I guess. I don't know.
It was circling the bowl, basically.
What's that? Yeah,
it was the beginning of the... Before it gets flushed down the toilet forever, you're like, all right.
So I would go to family and be like, yo, because I've never been through this. Never got broken up. I never had a girlfriend before her. None of this. So I'm literally doing every first thing ever at the same time.
Right.
First relationship, first serious girlfriend, first fucking, I moved in with her. Like, I fucking married her. Like, I'm doing all 4 of those fucking major milestone things in a relationship with the same person, and it's all coming undone at the same fucking time. So I am losing my mind because I don't know what's going on. I feel like I got dropped in a foreign land.
Right.
Like, I have no idea, And I'm going to my family being like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm fucking, like, I feel like this is coming. And they would just look at me and be like, yeah, well, how about them Red Sox? Like, it was like, I was like radioactive. Yeah. Nobody wanted to fuck with me. Nobody, like, at all. And you know what I'm saying? And she was like one of the few people in my life at that time that was like willing to hear my crazy bullshit.
Oh, that was nice of her.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and trust me, it did get weird. Of course it did. But she handled it like a trooper. Right. She understood that I was just losing my shit.
Yeah.
So she, and she always was my friend through all that bullshit. Was there any kind of romantic thing? No. There were spurts where I wish maybe something could happen, but she was going through her own thing that she told me about later. And she's a very private person, so I'm not going to air any of her shit.
Yeah, of course.
But she was going through her shit, her thing, which was fucking real bad. And so I kind of helped her get through that. It was like a mutual thing, even though I kind of felt like I was dumping on her constantly, my bullshit.
Right.
But she was great. She was fucking amazing. She was like one of the best friends I could have had in that moment. And we stayed in touch since then, since 2008.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've known her. Yeah, I've known her for like 15 fucking years. And I moved to Denver, and then like a week, like I fucking because she'd always talk about moving to San Diego because her parents lived there.
Okay.
Like, it was a weird thing. Like, the moment I moved to Denver, like literally 6 months later, she's like, I'm out. She fucking peaced out of New Hampshire, and she moved to fucking San Diego. And but we've always fucking stayed in touch. We've always, not all the time. Maybe we'll go months and shit without talking to each other.
Right.
But like, it's always like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Like, we keep tabs on each other.
Right.
Type of shit. And yeah, no, I mean, she's awesome. She's also, if I'm gonna be like about like the numbers about it as far as what I like in a person. If I was you know what I'm saying? Yeah, she hits a lot of boxes.
Nice.
Like, a lot of boxes. But again, I don't think she's into that shit. I don't think I'm the, you know what I'm saying? I think she's like, I'm the friend. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm not going to blow up a 15-year relationship just because it's not going to go the extra mile if that's the case.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It would be foolish too.
You're fucking dumb as fuck. Like, I've known her for 15 years. I'm just going to I'm going to flush that shit down the fucking toilet because you don't want to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, have a relationship, like, go the next step with, like, no. Yeah. If she wanted to, I'd be like, fuck yeah. But at the same time, like, that's just not, if it's not there, it's not there. So, but, no, but I'm going to get to, like, hang out with her. It'll be the first time. One thing I'm fearful of, though, and I've noticed this when I've met people that I knew before I did stand up and before I lived in Denver, before all this stuff.
Right.
I see them again, and it's just that connection I had to them is weirdly, it's like trying to plug a fucking Atari 2600 into a fucking HDMI television.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like the system sucks. It's just that we've done our own separate shit.
Yeah.
To the point where if I try and go back to this, it might just be weird.
Yeah.
Not weird, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but maybe not, because we've been in contact for the past 10 years or so through text messaging, just back and forth to shoot the shit. So maybe it won't be that bad, but or bad at all. But I am kind of fearful of that it's going to be like we're just two different people than we were 10 years ago. I don't know. I don't think so, but that is in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think if you guys are go there to watch a friggin' baseball game and stuff and just have a good time, I think it'd be all right. It's not, you're like, I know we've been together for 15 years, but I'm just going to send you a picture of my dick right before I show up. Let's see how that works. Yeah. Yep.
That's a wise idea. That'd be a great idea. I sent her like a video of like this baseball play. This guy that used to play for the Red Sox.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie Betts made a great throw through a guy out of third base, right? Sent her the video. Apparently, it was like one of those shorts that they're kind of like TikToks, but for YouTube or for Instagram. I sent it to her, and apparently it didn't load or something. And she goes, "Did you send me an Instagram video?" I go, "Yeah." She's like, "What was it?" And I'm like, "Are you? Oh, please don't tell me you think it's what I." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
dude. And I'm like, "Yeah, no, it was just a thing with a."
You're like, look, wait a second. What did I send her? Oh my God. Oh no. Like,
I went into fucking panic mode. I was like, "What the fuck did I send her? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" You know, and it for some reason it just disappeared. I don't know. Like it wouldn't play. It would say video, but I pushed on it and nothing would show up. So, but I just, I think she was just making sure that like my account didn't get hacked.
yeah, exactly.
And I've had happen to me. I mean,
dude, I almost got
not,
my Instagram hacked a couple weeks ago. Who was the dude, the comic that was also really into chasing storms?
oh, yeah, I know who you talked about.
Yeah, so
His name,
and he gets like I get a Instagram message with him. He's like, "Hey man, can you help me? I'm trying to win this contest and stuff like that for exposure and everything. Can you click on this link and stuff?" And I was like, I didn't think about it at first because I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." If he's contacting all of his comic buddies and stuff, I'm like, "Yeah." And then comes back, he's like, "Hey, what's your phone number?"
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "One sec." And then I go and I change my password right then, right? I changed the password on my Instagram, and he was like, "Hey, the link's not working. I'm going to send it again. Can you hit it?" And I was like, "Hey, dude, next time you see me at a mic, freaking walk me through this, but I got to go right now." And he's like, "Come on, man. Aren't you going to help me out?" And I'm like, blocked. And then I think I messaged something to him on Facebook or something. I'm like, "Dude, I think your Instagram got hacked." Or somebody like whatever, you got hacked and everything, because I'm like, that's a phishing scam. And because it's like, yeah, you know why that link didn't work is because it didn't give you access to my password, because like it did, but then I changed the password, so therefore the link didn't work again. So I think I got lucky in that, but it was like, man, that one was spooky. And I'm like, oh dude, I almost foolishly fell for, some really, really lame Instagram scam or something like that.
There was a chick that used to work with us at Argonaut. She's like James's friend. And I barely talked to her. I've met her. I mean, I've worked with her, but I've only hung out with her like a handful of times. And it was only because she was hanging out with James and I happened to live there.
Yeah.
Like, so she sends DM out of fucking nowhere being like, "Oh my God, like you should help me. I lost my shit to my password to my account. If I send you this link, can you Photoshop it and send it to me?" And then all of a sudden this code pops up on my phone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you redo your fucking password, like so you forget it.
Yeah.
It'll send you a code that it's you.
Yeah.
They wanted me to fucking screenshot that and send it to them. And that's when I was like, what the fuck? So I forgot I had her number. And I got it. Fuck, she still has the same number.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, no, I moved away a year or two ago. You may not remember me, but I'm James's old friend. I worked with you. I had like basically give her like this mission statement of why I'm fucking texting you.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of nowhere. And just be like, yo, I just wanted to give you a heads up. Your shit got leaked. Or you're not leaked, but your shit got hacked. And she's like, I know, report it for me. And I was like, no problem. And I did. And she's like, thank you. But at first, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, it's weird how like the ones they'll pick. And also what I hate is when like you'll have like a random hot chick just fucking like not match, but like follow you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But she's not a bot, like she's trying to be like, and like you click on a shit and it says, "Watch my pussy come."
Yeah.
You know, that shit.
Join my
like,
OnlyFans.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, you just fuck that shit like that. You block her, but it's like the ones where like you're like an entrepreneur and you're like, all right, whatever. And then all of a sudden they're DMing you and they're asking you like questions, like where do you live? How old are you? And you're like, wait a minute. You know, like I know what you're doing, fishing for information.
Yeah, exactly.
So block them.
Most of the followers I've gotten on Instagram over the past years have either been like bots, for like webcams or something, or it's been bots for, hey, I can get you a lot of followers. Like there's all these companies like, oh, I could promote your podcast. I can do this. I can do that. I'm like, man, I always tell them like, this is more of a hobby, even though it isn't just a hobby. This is actually just something that's really important in my life. But I tell them that, like, yeah, I'm not planning to pursue this as a business, whatever. And they're like, oh, okay, but that was just the only way that I can kind of let them down easy. Like I got a call from like, hey, this is from Google Analytics and stuff. We want to help you do this and everything. And this guy's going through his whole entire pitch. And I'm like, you're reading all this stuff so that way I can't like as much as possible. Like, when are you going to get to the question? You know, like how many, how much are you willing to, whatever. I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry. I've been about to go into a meeting. I can't really talk right now. Not really interested. Thanks for calling. Best of luck. No. There's your 3 no's. Have a good day. So, yeah, it's freaking weird. It was just really, really weird. But holy shit, dude, we just did over an hour. Can you believe that? And we said nothing.
It's like a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'll call it. This is our Seinfeld episode where we actually say nothing. We talk forever and say nothing. But, hey, if folks have been listening to the old mansplaining shows and stuff and you found our shit enjoyable, like I think the numbers from India started to go back up a little bit. So I'm like, all right, hopefully some of our fans or the guys who are busy trying to scam people in call centers from India, they're like, we'll just listen to this podcast about these 2 dorks and, as you're trying to scam old ladies out of their passwords and shit. But we appreciate the clicks and the views and stuff. So thanks. Keep that coming.
That's half our audience, goddammit.
Exactly. We'll go do a show in India. Like halfway through, our wallets are gone. So is our IDs. And I'm like, man, you guys are good. Okay, congratulations. Wow. Well done. Well done. They're like, yes, Mr. Donald Duck, we have your information. Oh, wait a second. Oh, and I'm like, ha. I came prepared, fuck faces. But yeah, I don't have anything coming up. I don't think. Do you?
No.
Oh, I will say this is closing out. If there's any of our listeners out there that are into like board games and like or tabletop RPGs or just tabletop games in general, look up Crit Hit AZ. It's a convention that's going to be coming up this year. It's actually run by my cousin Jim. It's a great time. It's 18 plus. So this is for like gamers and stuff like that, adults and everything like that. So it's a great kind of like a mini vacation and stuff for you guys to get away. Go. And it'll be, I forgot what hotel it's going to be at. The more information I get, then the more I'll let you guys know. But as we get closer to that. Also, you might have noticed that if you went on Spreaker and you're looking for like really old episodes, like the first 10 episodes of the Disjointed podcast are now missing. Well, they're not missing. They're over at disjointedpod.com under Disjointed Classic tab. This is basically a way if you really wanted just to donate to the show, to be honest with you, because I only have so much audio space on my Spreaker account, which is a lot. They're not cheap with it. I've got like 500 hours. Thing is that over 400 of that has already been taken up over the years from the amount of podcasting and stuff like that I've been doing. So like I need to make space. So I'm like, you know what I'll do on most of the episodes, there's certain episodes I'm not going to charge for, but I just put it behind a paywall of like 49 cents. So if you really want it now, I always say, folks, like if you really want the episode, but for some reason you don't want to pay 49 cents for it, hit me up via Messenger or through Facebook and stuff and say, hey man, can I get this thing or whatever? I'll send you a link for it. It's not a problem. I'm not really trying to make money off of that. It's kind of like rather than just take it away and tuck it away, I'm like, well, I'm already paying for the store that I'm not using on my website. So I'll do that. And like I said, hopefully we'll have some merch coming up soon for that as well. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I think that's about it. Other than that, I've got next week's episode of the Disjointed Podcast. Rosa Mariposa returns. We talk about her life after COVID. I'll tell you this afterwards, man. She went through some. I'm not going to say it like on air right now, but she went through some shit through COVID and stuff. So you guys can find all about that next week on that episode. Don't forget to subscribe, like, hit our bells and buttons, all that other fun stuff. It always helps out the algorithm. If you want, next time, follow us so that way you know when we're going live. You can take part of the chat room. We'd love to hear from you. And that is it. Signing off for We Talking. I'm Dave.
I'm Jake.
Y'all have a great week.
See ya.